Good morning, majors. So today we're going to go over day one notes, ratio and proportions. So we're going to look at a ratio. We did this when we're getting ready for Unit 5, that worksheet. But a ratio is going to be represented as a fraction or two numbers with a colon in between it. Okay, it says the definition of a ratio is given two quantities okay, given two quantities A and B. Let me make A and B a different color. A and B. The ratio of A to B is written as, what did I say, a colon or a fraction? A to B, we read that A to B or A over B. And this is just a period at the end of the sentence. There are actually 4 important facts that you need to know when it comes to ratios. The first one is you have to have the same units before you simplify it. Before you can actually divide, you have to have the same units. Number 2, they should be written in simplified form. So if it's like 3 divided by 6, you can simplify that to 1/2. So we will simplify 3 divided by 6 as 1 over 2, and we'll always use the simplified form. Number 3, the denominator cannot equal 0. The denominator is the bottom part, so the 6 cannot equal 0. Cross out that equal sign, 0. Cannot equal 0. And last but not least, number 4, we need at least 2 quantities. We're not going to simplify it to a whole number. Remember that. Could be more. At least. So this is my example. If they give us something like 12 divided by 6, we like to simplify this and say 2. We'll write this as 2 over 1 or 2 to 1, not just 2. Okay? So let's go over this example. It says the perimeter of a rectangle is 60. This is my rectangle. ABCD is 60. The ratio of AB to BC is 3 to 2. Find the length and the width of the triangle. So the ratio of A to B is 3. B to C is 2. So what a perimeter means is when we add up the outside, we're going to get 60. Just the outside, when we walk around the outside. And when I know this is a rectangle, the opposite sides are going to be equal length. So I'm going to add them up. 2x plus 3x plus 2x plus 3x equals 60. Combine my like terms. I have a lot of x's. 3 plus 2 is 5 plus 5 is 10 x's. Divide by the number in front of your x. x equals 6. Find the length and width of each rectangle. So I'm not done, but I know that x equals 6. So when I plug it in, this is going to be 3 times 6. 3 times 6, not 36. 3 times 6 is 18. So A to B is going to be 18, which means D to C is also 18. And 2 times 6 is 12. If you add up these numbers, they should equal 60. Check your work. Check my work. The measure of the angles, the angles is very important. We see this a lot in my triangle. Have the ratio 2 to 3 to 4. So it doesn't matter which angle is which. We're going to say this one is 2x, this one is 3x, and this one is 4x. Okay? Doesn't matter. Pick one. Find the measure of the angles. So the reason we can use angles is because we know that the angles in a triangle add up to equal 180 always, right? Doesn't matter what type of triangle it is. So they can always give us ratios for angles. So we're going to just add them up. 4x plus 3x plus 2x equals 180. Combine like terms again. 4, 7, 9, x equals 180. If you divide each side by the number in front of your x will equal 20, I think. Try it out. Find the measure of each angle. I'm not done. Plug them back in. 2 times 20 is 40. 3 times 20 is 60. 4 times 2 is 80. Do they add up to equal 180? Check it out. The ratio of side lengths in triangle DEF and ABC are 2 to 1. Okay? This is what we're going to be doing in chapter 5. So this is how we're going to figure it out. We're going to use this side that they give you and this side that they give you, and we're going to make a fraction. 8. Oh no, these two are not the same sides. Okay, this is why they gave us 2 to 1. So my fraction is going to be 2 to 1. And 2 is the bigger triangle, is DEF, okay? So that's very important. We're going to do big triangle over small triangle in both of our fractions. So my ratio is 2 to 1, so that's going to be one of my fractions, is equal to, we're trying to find the other lengths. So what I can do is I can look at my congruency statement, and I know that 8, that side with the 8, is going to be the same as the side 8 is E to F. So E to F is my last two. That should be the same as the last two, which are B to C. B to C. These two should be corresponding sides, right? So if it's going to be 2 over 1, we're going to say 8 over, we don't know B to C. So that's going to be our variable x. And we can just cross multiply. 2 times x is 2x equals, put that equal sign there, 1 times 8 is 8. Divide each side by the number in front of your variable. X equals 4. We can do the same thing to find the other sides. So in this one, we're going to use our same ratio, 2 over 1. But we started with, 2 is the big triangle, so we have to start with the big triangle. I'm going to try to find this side right here, DE. DE, we don't know what that is, so that's going to be our x. And then they give us a small triangle, which is 3. And then I'm just going to cross multiply again. 2 times 3 is 6 equals 1 times x is x. X equals 6. Ta-da! I don't have to do anything. No dividing. Now, in order to find the third side in a right triangle, this little symbol right here means that it is a right triangle. 90-degree angle means that it's a right triangle. And what I can do is use the Pythagorean theorem to find the other side. I can't use a ratio because I'm going to have 2 over 1 equals x over x. We don't know what the hypotenuse is. So we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem. I'm going to use a small triangle and use the Pythagorean theorem. I don't have any room. I'm just going to erase this. You guys remember the Pythagorean theorem? We went over this when we did the district assessment. We just reviewed this with you guys. Remember, the Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And the c squared has to be your hypotenuse. It has to be the biggest side. But the a and b can be either 3 or 4. It doesn't matter which order you put it in. So I'm going to put 3 squared plus 4 squared equals the hypotenuse squared, which is, in this case, is still my variable. We don't know what it is. So I'm going to put c squared. 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16 equals c squared. That is 25. 9 plus 16 is 25. And we're trying to get rid of the squared right here. We don't want to know what c squared is. We want to know what c is. So in order to get rid of that squared, to cancel it, you've got to take the square root of each side. So then you'll get c by itself is equal to 5. 3, 4, 5. And we know the ratio is 2 to 1, so if we double it, we'll get the hypotenuse of this one is 10. Or you can put it in your fraction and try it again, put x, and you'll find out that's 10. Or you can use the Pythagorean theorem, 6 squared plus 8 squared equals 10 squared, I guarantee you. All right, guys, let's go over this. A proportion is two ratios set equal to each other. That's when we cross multiply. Okay. Cross product property. So cross means product means multiply, and then property. So we're gonna cross multiply. So I'm gonna give you an example. If A over B equals C over D, then we're gonna cross multiply. AD equals BC. And I've just done examples like that. The reciprocal property, reciprocal means flip. So if A over B equals C over D, then we can flip each side, but you can't just flip one, you have to flip both. Then B over A equals D over C. Okay? All right, let's do a couple of examples. I will look at your, you're getting ready for Unit 5 worksheet. I did something just like this. I'm going to do B for you. Remember that this whole thing has to be multiplied by 2. So remember, we're going to distribute my 2. 2 times parentheses y plus 2, cross multiply, equals, the other side is 3 times y. Now distribute that 2. 2 times y is 2y. 2 times 2 is 4. Equals 3y. I have the bigger y's on this side, and I'm going to move my 2y minus 2y to the right. So we have 4 equals y. Ta-da! We're done. I think that's all they want, right? Now, when we're cross multiplying this one, you guys got to remember that x times x equals x squared, okay? So we're going to do x squared equals, and then 7 times 11 is 77. Right? So whenever we have something squared, to get rid of it, we use the square root. So x will equal plus or minus the square root of 77. We'll always have 2 answers if we have a squared. Okay? That'll be a decimal. I don't know. You can plug it in your calculator. The official height to width ratio of the American flag is 1 to 1.9. The flag flying over the U.S. Capitol is 6 feet high. How high is the width? So we're always going to use the ratio that they give us. 1 divided by 1.9 equals, the height comes first and then the width is on the bottom. And it says it's 6 feet high. So the height is on the top. How wide? Wide is on the bottom. We're going to use x. Cross multiply and solve for x. So I'll do this one. Jessica is an architect who is drawing blueprints for a house she plans to build. In the blueprint, 1/2 inch represents 2 feet. So 1/2 or 0.5, 0.5 is 2 feet. If the drawing of the kitchen has dimensions of 5 inches by 6.3 inches, what are the actual dimensions of the feet? So in this problem, this is a multi-step problem. You need to look at the conversion is 1/2 of an inch per 2 feet. So that's going to be our conversion. We're going to make that our fraction, 0.5 like I had before, divided by 2 feet equals, and we're just going to look at the length first. It has length times width. So my length in this case is 5 inches. We're just going to get the length first. So 5 inches is the map divided by what is our real dimensions of the kitchen. So that's going to be our x. When we cross multiply, we're going to get 0.5 times x equals 10. And if we divide by 0.5, x, or my length, will equal 20 feet. Okay? So my length, you can write it down, equals 20 feet. All right, let's do the same thing for my width. So our conversion is still 0.5 inches per 2 feet. And my width in this case is 6.3. So my inches on the paper is 6.3 over, I don't really know how big it's going to be. We're going to cross multiply. It's going to be 0.5x equals 2 times 6.3. I think it's 12.6. I don't know. Plug in your calculators for me. Divided by 0.5, x will equal 25.2-ish feet. So I'm going to write that down up here. The width is equal to 25.2 feet. And make sure you guys keep the units with it. Feet. Very important. Okay? All right, guys, this is our last one. The ratio of C to D to D to E is 5 to 6. Write that down first. 5 over 6. That's my ratio. C to D, they told me C to D comes first. That's X. Over D to E comes last. That is 12. I want you guys to cross multiply, try it out, and then try B. Set up B and figure it out. Okay? And that's all. We'll see you in class.